What's going on, guys? So recently there was this one progressive versus 20 conservatives video. A larger right-leaning, I guess you could say, channel than my own has already covered this. They beat me to the punch, unfortunately. But I specifically wanted to focus on this one segment with this creator, Pinesap, because I'm actually somewhat familiar with him. I remember running into his channel back when my own channel had like at or around 1,000 subs. So I think this was of November of like 2024 or so. And I never really got into him because obviously, he's a very staunch Catholic, and I'd already made up my mind at that point that I was kind of going down the reformed uh, Calvinistic road, so to speak. And I still think, though, that he made a number of errors in this debate that anyone with radical politics on the right could easily make. And I think the clip is worth examining. So let's dive right in.
Nice to meet
pleasure
you.
to meet you, sir.
Medhi, lovely to meet you.
So I would say that with Trump being anti-constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly.
Okay.
Because in regards to the Constitution is a document that should seek to serve us.
Yes.
And when it fails to seek to serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed. And quite frankly, the fact is, we're defending things in this country that shouldn't be defended.
All right, not necessarily a bad start here. A little bit of an unconventional position for a self-identified conservative to take in an American context, but liberals do actually agree with this, albeit in their own way. The Constitution was created with a built-in process to amend it, showing the founders did have some foresight that there would be social change in America. Although, they didn't add in this feature because they thought it would be amended to allow for really stupid stuff. But let's see where Pinesap takes this argument.
The First Amendment should not defend pornography and making children and women be victimized. Making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. I think that, quite frankly, there are a lot of legal processes that are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact their will in this country in the name of the Constitution or following the Constitution. So, quite frankly, if Trump is anti-Constitution, good, and I think he should go further.
His argumentation style should have stuck more tightly to this form. He's going to abandon it very soon. But basically, you propose something rational or reasonable, a progressive attaches a negative political label to you, and then you say, if that's what it means to be this, then yeah, I'm this. But it has to happen after you say some common sense stuff. Because it's true that the left ultimately wants to pathologize natural and decent things. They are an ultimately negative and deconstructive force, and that is the way that you properly expose this to people. Because regular people will realize that they are actually at risk at being lumped in to that negative political label along with you. The lesson here is if you have radical politics and you want to normalize that radical politics in any public or rhetorical setting, what you say has to be grounded in common sense that could appeal to the average squishy centrist American. And I say this as someone who doesn't even like Pinesap. I'm just making an observation here of what he did wrong. I don't like the whole radical Catholicism thing he's going with here. And if you follow this channel for any amount of time, you'll know that I'm critical of Nick Fuentes as well. But it remains a point of fact. Like there's a certain, he's kind of missing rules of the social game, right? Just because you're talking about politics doesn't mean that social dynamics disappear. Speaking truth to power is obviously important. However, you always have to keep your setting and social context in mind. You'll never escape that aspect of humanity that's just water cooler talk. And if you don't get the nuances of that, you might as well keep your mouth shut. Only real day one subscribers know what my politics actually is, by the way.
So this is wonderfully revealing of the modern conservative mindset. So I appreciate you spelling it out so openly. Just checking, do you support the Second Amendment?
I do.
Okay, surprise, I was shocked to hear that. I'm saying that Donald Trump is defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He's thinking of defying the 12th and 22nd Amendments. You're saying you don't care about the Constitution, but actually you do because you quite like the Second Amendment. You just don't like the bits that you disagree with. Can I just be clear on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to amend it and include
Whenever
the
it's in
Second
your
Amendment.
favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can Democrats do the same when they're in office?
No, absolutely not. Because
you don't
it's the
believe in
friend enemy.
democracy?
No, I don't. Absolutely not.
And this is where I think it went too far. You know, there's a certain value in being bold and authentic with your radical politics at like a higher profile. But then it also becomes very easy to paint you as, you know, an insane crank. You know, it always looks terrible because American political identity is so heavily wedded to individual political freedom. The basic framework that Americans are taught from a young age in public school and also internalize culturally is one that is in favor of individual political freedom, that cannot empathize with, sympathize with, or understand non-democratic systems of government. And to show you how ingrained this attitude is in the American psyche, I'll point out, historically speaking, this is why most of the far right in America has been like the militia movement. You know, at their most extreme, relative to our current political moment, they were typically some form of white identity constitutionalist Christians. America doesn't even have a robust illiberal tradition. So if you don't like democracy or you want to end the republic or something like that, it's pointless to advocate for that in America. It just is. It's a non-starter. And, you know, this guy, Pinesap, he can start his Catholic autocracy, but only out of the ashes of America after a real political breakdown, if he's even able to survive something like that. This is why, you know, you need to properly balance your idealism with the realities of daily life.
What do you believe in?
Autocracy.
By who?
Honestly, quite frankly, anyone who is in line with Catholic teaching.
Cringe.
Donald Trump is not Catholic.
Of course, he's not. I completely agree, and
so
that's
you
part of
support
the problem.
Trump? You don't support Trump?
No, I don't. I didn't even vote for him. I wrote in like John Pork or someone.
Why
I can't
did
even
you
remember.
He didn't even vote for Trump. More evidence this guy is just a brainless groiper. But anyways, this begs the question of why he's even up here when the positions he's articulating are decidedly outside the Overton window of mainstream American conservatism. This Jubilee video is titled One Progressive versus 20 Conservatives, and at least so far as I know from personal experience, the overwhelming majority of Trump voters are not into Catholic autocracy. Feels like that should be an obvious statement, but I guess to Jubilee it's not, or maybe they just didn't vet this guy.
Why did you vote if you don't believe in democracy and you want autocracy?
Well, because quite frankly, I voted. I kind
fascinating.
of voted just to.
I came with this
troll a
argument,
little
but I'm
bit,
bored.
Whoa. Did you hear that right there real quick?
I kind of voted just to.
I came with this argument, but I'm with this argument, but I'm with this argument, but I'm.
This is how you know this guy's a groiper. Because this performative stuff is idiotic. Who's even going to see your vote? Who are you trolling? Unless you are actually doing it, writing it down, writing in the name of whatever guy's name he wrote in, taking a picture of it, and then posting it online so other people in your particular online social circles could see it. If you are a mature adult and you engage in electoral politics despite not believing in some of the fundamental ideals of liberal democracy, you do so with the full knowledge that you will not get everything you want from this election cycle or even necessarily from any election cycle. And I'm not telling anyone to lower their standards or not criticize bad behavior on the part of politicians they may have supported. But then with stuff like this, it's like if you clearly care so much to go take time out of your day to go and write in the name of someone who you know will not win. Like your energy should just be spent better somewhere else. If that's really how you feel, if you're just gonna knowingly throw your vote away, then you might as well not vote at all, and just focus on your personal life or other stuff like that. If it really means that little to you.
Of my own argument, I'm much more interested in this. So
Yeah, absolutely.
How do we get to an autocracy?
I think, quite frankly, that if we are able to enact local leaders...
Who is the we, by the way?
I think, quite frankly, these far-right conservatives sitting right around
White
me.
people?
My father once told me something when I was younger. He said, when you're in a debate with someone, sometimes you just have to allow them to let you hand them the rope with which they hang themselves. And that's exactly what's going on here. You see how he was like, oh, I'm actually, I'm abandoning my argument. I'm more interested in this conversation because it's optically so bad. Like there's a clear lack of self-awareness here because he's such a purist, because he wants to make this big performative stance, speak truth to power, like they teach you in middle school. Your opinion matters. Oh yeah, your opinion. You're so right. Go ahead and voice that opinion. And he thinks even though he's a conservative now, even though he's right wing, he's a big mean, repressive boogeyman white male, he still has that fundamental individualist political ethos where he's more interested in performatively making a stand than he is actually practically advancing his own interests. Now you got to remember that, what I said, that old phrase, that piece of wisdom. You let someone talk long enough, they will slit their own throat. Keep that in mind.
Yeah,
No
absolutely.
So,
well,
some
actually,
of you guys,
I have quite.
Some of the people in this room don't make the cut from what I can see visually.
Actually, hold on for a moment. I do think that there are people who happen to not be white who do actually have history in this country and have roots in this country. For instance, from the Mexican-American War, we subsumed a lot of territory of people who have far stakes in this country who happen to be Hispanic or what have you. I'm for defending the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white, and it should stay that way.
How does the United States...
You notice that right there? One guy willing to clap. He's in shark-infested waters right now. Dangerous territory, bro. Watch what you're saying.
Gone so off topic, but how does the United States look like under you? Sorry, what's your name?
My name is, my name's Connor. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Took a little bit of a doubt there.
Oh, well, I use a pseudonym online,
fair enough,
but fair enough.
How would Connor's America look? What would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
I didn't ask about deporting. What does the government look like?
What does the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under a sort of benevolent leader, such as
Where does he
Franco.
come from?
It could be a kind of aristocratic class. Could be someone
who picks the autocrat?
Frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings were
isn't that democracy?
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get to that stage.
And then no more votes afterwards.
Absolutely.
People totally razzed him for saying this, too. Even though things like elective monarchy have historical precedent, which is obviously not anything like contemporary Western liberal democracy, but then still does involve elections, at least of a certain type. This is still going to go over most people's heads because this is a fast-paced, high-stakes political debate, right? If your answer is too based in nuance, then you're going to just look bad trying to explain it, no matter the context. This left, right, center, whatever.
Wow. 100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills because that's the whole thing.
How do you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to kill everyone, even their own supporters.
Schmitt makes this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right?
Carl Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah.
This is precisely what it looks like when you want to be right more than you want to actually get stuff done. Because Carl Schmitt is actually still a respected political scientist. Like, despite his political associations during his life, a lot of his observations are actually still considered sound within the field of political science, the academic field of political science, even today. But then it's also like you just don't want to invoke someone like that in an environment like this. You really have to be a bonehead. And then, of course, Pinesap continues on to dig his own grave.
Absolutely, I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution and stuff like that, which is bad.
We may have to rename this show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Yeah, see what I mean? Even he was like, yeah, you're you're not your average bear Republican. Even he had to acknowledge that, which was charitable of him given that he's a leftist. Like he didn't have to do MAGA a solid like that, optically speaking.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone is on this. Because you know that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not... Can you believe this? He's like, bro, let me double check. You're shooting yourself in the foot here right now. Okay. I'm just giving you a nice. You're handing this to me on a silver platter. Come on now.
Not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During the pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats. They were aristocrats.
Are you in favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Quite frankly, I'm not.
You mentioned Franco earlier. Franco killed a lot of innocent people.
Oh, well, he killed communists. He killed people who raped nuns and killed priests.
What about children who he killed and women who he killed?
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic,
He only killed combatants. Is that what you're claiming?
Yeah, he only killed combatants.
Never killed any innocent people.
The White Terror was only punishing those people who did...
No one's going to listen to your stupid Spanish Civil War factoids, bro.
Acts of terrorism. And again, are you supporting, like, raping innocent women? Nuns, dude. Killing priests? I mean, priests don't brandish guns and kill people.
You just refuse to condemn the Nazi Holocaust, my friend. I don't think you're in a position to ask anyone any questions.
I quite frankly don't care what you think about me. If I'm a Nazi and being a Nazi...
And the feeling is mutual.
And they both don't care for two very different reasons. Pinesap doesn't care because he is heavily invested in a particular online community which reinforces this type of thinking. He gets validation from this community, so that's the audience he's pandering to. Medhi Hasan doesn't care because Medhi Hasan is a political operative who is interested in just making the right look bad. So yeah, that's the goal he's going to have in mind whenever he's interacting with a right-wing person in a public context. And unfortunately, the Zoomers who tried to debate him here on this Jubilee video didn't quite get that. Didn't quite get the memo, especially Pinesap.
A Nazi means upholding human dignity, because I even believe in your dignity. I don't, in a state that I was running, I wouldn't want to hurt you or anything like that. But quite frankly,
I don't debate fascists.
Okay. So do you concede then? I mean, why?
Do I concede you're a fascist who won't condemn the Nazis?
Yeah.
Yes, I concede that.
Okay, great. So I mean, what are we doing here? Because I mean, you just seem offended.
What you're doing here,
you just seem offended, to be quite frank.
Pinesap shouldn't be asking this guy what they're doing. He should have gone in knowing what he himself was trying to do. He should not be asking this question.
Like,
I'm offended by people who can't condemn the Nazis. Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I condemn the evils that they did, but I don't really care about
Jews?
being... Yeah, sure. I don't care about being called a Nazi is the whole thing.
I never called you a Nazi.
I care
you
about
called
doing
yourself
the right
a Nazi,
thing.
a fascist, and a General Franco supporter.
Well, yeah, I am a General Franco supporter. He was awesome. He was so super cool, quite frankly.
You see they got that guy nodding in the background like that?
Because the whole thing...
And you don't believe in democracy.
I don't believe in democracy.
What are you doing here at a televised debate? This is democracy. It's not about a debate and disagreement.
Because it is the means to support an end. The reason we have free speech now is because we want to be openly talking about our opinions so we can get the state that we want. But it doesn't mean upholding free speech after we win. Again, I mentioned...
The only good thing about this fascist moment we're in is that you guys are so open about it.
You know, one of the worst things that you could ever have is someone who does not speak for a group of people speak on their behalf and be publicly recognized as speaking on their behalf. And that's exactly what's happening here. He's completely out of step with the sentiments of the people he thinks he's protecting, and in sort of inserting himself as their spokesperson, he has made a complete disaster of things.
It's
whole
great.
reason
Say
I
the
mentioned
quiet part loud.
the
Keep saying
whole
it.
reason I mentioned Carl Schmitt earlier, and you kind of blew past him, is the friend-enemy
Blew
distinction.
past
Bro, he's still rambling about Carl Schmitt. This is unbelievable.
him because of the Nazi
Even
point.
liberals, when they take power, they want to enact policies and they want to enact protections for their people and their ideas, and they're willing to punish their enemy. And so I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, if you're going to punish me, I'm going to get in power, and I'm going to frankly punish you when you try to leverage power against me. Just that simple.
I'm not sure what you want to say.
Hey, it is what it is.
All right. Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
I can't say the same, but thank you.
And that is how a chud loses a debate against a progressive in under 10 minutes. Take good notes, boys and girls. Like, I guess the overall point of what I'm trying to say is, when you are trying to make a point politically, you have to think about what the average person knows and understands if you want to communicate effectively. You know, you have to think about, you have to have some sort of theory of mind for your average person, and then get across the principle or moral or point you want to get across in a way that they will understand. And if you can't do that, you really shouldn't be you really shouldn't have any attention on you at all. You know, whether these labels by Pinesap were things he sincerely identifies as or purely performative, this was a complete mess on his part. And let this be a lesson to anyone who takes themselves too seriously. Anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. And Red Channels will catch you in the next one.
And a person like me, smoking